everyone, it's Madison and welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be talking about my TBR for June. I'm really excited for it. I have a lot of books on here, a lot of physical books that I've loaned from friends and some ebooks I've loaned from my library. It's just a whole great selection, along with I picked out a few Pride Month books to talk about in today's video that I'm very excited to be getting to and reading. So the first book on my list for my TBR is a reread and continuation on with Heartstopper, the graphic novels that I'm reading as a webcomic by Alice Oseman. It's well loved on BookTube. I feel like I've seen everyone reading it, and last year, it's been almost a year now since I read it for the first time, and I absolutely adored it. It was so sweet and so wholesome and covered some heavier topics in such a way that I just found just so inspiring and so beautiful, and her art style is amazing, and I really love these graphic novels. They're pretty much about Nick and Charlie as they meet, they become friends, and they fall in love, and I absolutely love them. So I'm very excited to reread the first 3 graphic novels in the webcomic form and continue on to the 4th novel and catch up on my updates so that I am completely caught up and I can be reading the updates as they come. The next book I have on my list is called The Passing Playbook by Isaac Fitzsimons. It's about a trans boy named Spencer Harris and kind of his journey to acceptance and somewhat normalcy at a new school because he is passing. And of course, there's he's on the soccer team, there's drama, and of course there's a little bit of a romance I've heard. And this is a fairly new release, so I haven't heard many people talking about this, but I saw this got recently added to my online library, and I was like, I want to read this, so I checked it out, and so I'm very, very excited to be getting to it very soon. The next book on my TBR is Meet Cute Diary by Emery. So I have recently started this one and I'm very excited to continue it on. It is pretty much about a trans boy who writes his love stories, trans love stories, and happily ever afters for the public on this Tumblr blog he keeps up. But then he is pretty much starts to be outed by a troll about how all of these are fake, and of course that's true, and so he decides to start fake dating this boy who loves the diary, and it's pretty much to save his public persona and to save the diary from just disappearing, because it is very much a safe place for a lot of people who are struggling with their identities. And it's really cute so far. I'm really enjoying it. However, I was a bit questionable about it in the beginning, but where I am about halfway through it now, it's really, really good so far. So I'm excited to see. It didn't go in the direction I expected it to, but I think it was a very needed direction and I love it a lot. Next up, we have The Henna Wars by Adiba. Jaigirdar. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. I'm horrible at speaking in general, but I've seen this book. It came out, I believe, last year, and I've seen it all over the place. A lot of people love it. It talks about cultural appropriation, plus it's a romance between 2 girls who enter this school competition, and I'm really, really excited for it. I'm really interested in it. I feel like I could learn a lot about it too. Simply because I do need education in that whole area of cultural appropriation, definitely. Next up, we have Sweet and Bitter Magic by Adrienne Tooley. So this book I saw, I believe, in a subscription box. I don't remember exactly which one, but I was instantly intrigued. I've heard it's a really good fantasy. I don't know. I believe it's a standalone. I'm not sure. But I believe it's an enemies to lovers romance between 2 girls. I could be completely wrong, but I'm very, very intrigued by that fantasy aspect because we don't see a lot of representation, I feel like, in fantasy nowadays, and so seeing that slowly be integrated is amazing to me, and I'm very, very excited to read it. So those are my mainly Pride Month books that I plan on reading this month. And next up, I have 2 library loans that I want to be getting to very, very quickly, so I'm going to mention them. First up is Vicious Spirits by Kat Cho. So this is the sequel to Wicked Fox, which I read last month for my Asian readathon, and I enjoyed it. It wasn't my favorite thing ever, but I really enjoyed the aspect of the Korean mythology that it talks about. It is infused into like an urban fantasy story. It's set in Seoul, South Korea, and the atmosphere and the culture is just amazing. I absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved that part of it. And so this is supposed to be a sequel slash companion story that picks up, I believe, where the first book leaves off, but it's main perspectives, and it follows the two of the main side characters of the first book. And I really enjoy those side characters, so I hope I will enjoy this story also. It's just something light and something fun. Even though it's not gonna be like one of my favorite series ever, it is pretty good. And then the other book I have on loan from the library is A Torch Against the Night by Sabaa Tahir. So this is the second book in the Ember and the Ashes series, and this one also made it onto the Time Magazine Top 100 Fantasy Books of all time. So we're gonna see how good it is. Hopefully it'll be full of less horribly infused cliches as the first book was. I did enjoy the first book, but I didn't really think it deserved that spot on that list for like best fantasy books ever, because in my personal opinion it's not going to be one of my favorite fantasy books ever, but it was enjoyable, and I am looking forward to continuing the series because of where that first book left off. Wow. I need answers and solutions, and yes, I can't just stop reading. And now those are all the ebooks I'm going to be talking about for right now, and I'm going to talk about some of the physical books I have on my TBR, and all of these are books I've loaned from friends and need to be getting back as soon as possible. So the first of these is Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. So this is this author's second book, and I was loaned this book by a friend because Margaret Rogerson is one of her favorite authors for both young adult and fantasy, and I really hope this one is better than her debut novel, because as much as I enjoyed her debut novel, it definitely wasn't my favorite, and I could see a lot of issues with it. A lot of people have, but this one definitely intrigues me more. It pretty much follows Elizabeth, who is pretty much a keeper of this library where these magic books like turn into monsters, I'm pretty sure, and then one escapes. One turns into a monster and escapes, and she has to team up with a sorcerer who in her land she's taught to hate because they're evil, and it's pretty much their fantasy adventure to go and save everyone. I'm very intrigued by this. I think I'll enjoy it a lot more. One of the strengths for this author's debut novel, Enchantment of Ravens, the reason I really enjoyed it was the writing, and so I assume the writing for this one will be a lot just as good or maybe even better, and I think that'll help me enjoy this more too. We'll see. Next two books I have on my TBR are books I've loaned from a friend, of course, and that is The Mysterious Benedict Society by Trenton Stewart, books 1 and 2. So these are two of my friend's favorite middle grades, and it pretty much follows these kids who are like geniuses in their own right, and they're kind of, I believe they join like this mysterious society, obviously, and they have to go on like a spy mission or something like that. It's just fun, it's light, it's adventurous. I read about 50 pages of this back in September when I first borrowed these books, and I really did enjoy it, but then I hit a reading slump and I just never got around to finishing it, and they've been sitting on my shelf for way too long, so I definitely need to finish these books this month and finally return them back to her. I have two more that I'm going to talk about that I need to return to, but yes, I'm very excited to be getting to these books. They just seem like an amazing fun time. Next up, I have the other books I need to return to my friend immediately because I borrowed these back in November and only got halfway through one of them. And that is books 2 and 3 of the Chaos Walking trilogy by Patrick Ness, The Ask and the Answer, and Monsters of Men. So The Ask and the Answer I started back in October, November area, and I hit my reading slump, and I ended up only getting about halfway through it. I got to page 264 of around 500, and I was really enjoying this book. I just didn't continue on with it, and I really do, because after going to see the horrible film adaptation, I want to read these books and just realize how much better the books are, and it pretty much the way it's written is just amazing. It's set in this world where everyone can hear everyone else's thoughts, and there's like a whole mystery to it and everything, and it's a lot of adventure and traveling to it, and I just really like the way it was written. It's written in such a way that I personally can't even predict what's going to happen next, and so it's intriguing in that way, and it's just an amazing ride. So I'm excited to continue on with these books. And finally, a book I loaned from a friend that I need to finish, and that is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I'm approximately, well, I think I'm exactly on the 200 page mark, so I've got all of that left to go, but yes, I'm excited to continue reading this book. It's so atmospheric, and it's written so beautifully. However, I did find it very slow for a time, and I think that's why I didn't really get into it as much as I wanted to, and I think because it's been so long since I started reading it and I don't really exactly remember what happens, I might try to start it over in like a 24-hour readathon and just try to get it done. I don't know. We shall see, but I do want to try to finish this month, and then maybe even get on to Erin Morgenstern's second book if I enjoyed this one. We'll see. Those are all the books I am for sure going to try to get to and read this month, although I do want to mention some of the books I have on hold with my library that I think will be coming off hold this month, and I can go ahead and read them too, which is books 2, 3, and 4 of the Legend series by Marie Lu, Prodigy, Champion, and Rebel. They're all books I want to binge read to complete this series. I read the first book last month, and it was an amazing ride, just all the classic dystopian vibes, and I do want to continue reading this series. And the other two books are books 3 and 4 of An Ember in the Ashes series by Sabaa Tahir. I talked about A Torch Against the Night earlier, and whether I think these books are worthy of being on that list or whatever, I'm just kind of being pretentious about it. But I am excited to binge read this series because I know it's going to be a ride, and I have a feeling I won't be able to put some of these books down, so they better get off hold very quickly so I can just binge it. Anyways, those are all the books I have planned to read this month. I hope to be able to get to all of them, and then if I finish all of them, I may go off my TBR a bit and just check out some random books in the library or pick up some books that I desperately need to read on my shelves. I have a list of like 100 books I want to read before this year ends, and that's always changing and everything because I'm very much a mood reader. And we're just gonna have a fun time. It's gonna be a great time this month. Hopefully I can stick to my TBRs. I'm not sure if planning out what I'm gonna read in a month will actually work for me. I don't think it will, but we're gonna see. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next one. I hope you are reading some amazing books and you have some great books planned to read this month too. If you want to tell me what you are reading or have any recommendations for me, please leave it down in the comments. I would greatly appreciate it. And I post videos every Sunday and Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern time, or at least I'm trying to, getting into the swing of things. So if you want to follow me along on this journey, make sure to press the subscribe button. Anyways, I will see you in my next video, and bye!